I'm an idiot. So, anyway, you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Welcome back to Local Talent. In studio with us today, Gabe Farias. Gabe, I appreciate you being here, man.
The word talent and Gabe Farias, that's really a stretch, man. But I appreciate you including me. And you guys, you do such a wonderful job. I got to throw a shout out because I've been doing this, you and I in our kind of pre-conversation.
We've been talking for almost 45 minutes.
Yeah. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, which two things. One, made me think, God, I'm old. But, you do a fantastic job with this. And everybody that you've talked to, and am I following Michael Carpenter? Is it like Carpenter? Okay, there's somebody. Thank the Lord, because I watched Michael's.
And actually, that's a different show. That's the political show. We're on the entrepreneur show. So,
okay, good.
You'll be after Derek Sanchez with Mia Marco's Pizza.
Well, he's going to be way smarter than me, so it doesn't matter who I follow. But still, you guys do a fantastic job. Thanks. I really enjoyed listening to you guys. And again, somebody who's been doing this for a long time. Hey, man, from the studio, the setup, the mics, you got real microphones, man. Like, I bought my podcast mics at, like, Family Dollar, Like, this is, like, the good stuff. This right here, this is puro. What do you call it? What's the website that we all go to? Alexis?
Wish.com?
No, not Etsy. No, what? Oh, my God, I'm going blank. Amazon. This is, like, Amazon's best, brother. I'm telling you. So, y'all, kudos, man. Y'all do a fantastic job. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, you want to give the elevator pitch? Who you are, what you do, and who you do it to?
Yeah. Three things. I do three things. People ask me, what do you do, Gabe? I do three things. My full-time job is I'm the executive vice president for corporate development and public affairs for Kellum Family Medicine right there on 3009 in Church, Texas. We can talk a lot about that, but that new building that we've done, we've gone into
it's beautiful. I haven't even been inside of it, but just the outside of it.
It is the Taj Mahal of buildings and shirts. And it's something we put a lot of effort into, but, here in the next, few days, by the time this thing airs, we're going to be seeing patients in that, building, developing. Nice. You've been an owner, you've built things out. It's not easy. Nope. It's not easy to build and or finish out, a 300 square foot little office, let alone.
Here's a great example. Do you know how many versions of this I'm on?
But a 22,000 square foot, 2-story Class A building is not easy. Thanks to the city of Shirts, Dr. Brown, Mayor Gutierrez, before, Mayor Carpenter, when he was the mayor, those guys have been so helpful and so wonderful along this process because, again, another thing in Shirts, there's a lot of rock, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did y'all have to use any dynamite?
Never build on rock. No, I don't think so. I wasn't that kind of micro into the process, but what I did here was...
I know there was a lot of rock.
You're building on a big piece of rock. But we're going from a 5,000 square foot building to an 11,000 square foot office with a second floor. We've got some major partners coming in. Methodist is coming in. We've got got a mammography company, and we're about to start building two. This is not just a one building thing. This is a 10+ acre, multi-building medical center
at the same place.
At the same
Y'all
place.
Have 10 acres over there.
There's 10 acres, man. There's a lot of
awesome.
acreage. We got a second building that's going to start here in the next month or so. A third building, not too far off. But before you blink an eye, Jason, you're going to have a 4-building, because we still have our existing building. Sure. You're going to have 4-building medical center with nothing but medical services that we're going to be offering to the people of the Tri-County area.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I didn't realize it was going to be such a development.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And it's beautiful as you go over that hill and you see it. It just kind of stands out, and we're really proud of it. And it's a testament to Dr. Kellum's persistence, his dedication to this community. He's been in Shirts for well over a decade now. And he just wants to serve people. He wants to see as many patients as he possibly can for this community. So that's the first thing I did.
Sure.
What do you do? I'm also a member of the Texas Sports Productions broadcast team. You know, if you've watched the Judson game on television, before it was on KCWX, now they're on MeTV. August 27th, we're kicking the season off with what could be the greatest partner we've ever been with KSET 12. We're going to be on KSET for a triple header, 3 games. It's going to be Smithson Valley and Reagan in the first game.
So what do you do? What do you do with the Texas Sports? Say it again. Texas Sports what?
Yeah, Texas Sports Productions.
What do you do there?
I'm a broadcaster. I'm the sideline reporter. You know, you always got to hire a beautiful sideline reporter.
Yeah,
Jason.
So
I'm that
guy. You're the guy. You're the beautiful sideline reporter.
I'm the beautiful sideline reporter. Yeah.
So do you wear low waist jeans to those, or
I wear skinny jeans. Skinny jeans and a form fitting V-neck. That's
nice.
What they want me to wear.
That's you know.
Oh my goodness. I don't know that they make skinny jeans in my size. I can imagine.
They're all skinny jeans when you get to my size.
I can imagine going into Old David saying, "Do you have size 46, 28 skinny jeans?" Is that?
Can I get those in a low waist hip hugger?
Yes.
Can I get a hip hugger?
Yes.
So you're
yeah, so I'm a broadcaster, and in addition, you know, everyone looks at the TV games that we do. So we'll end up doing that triple header on August 27th, and then we'll do 10 other games on MeTV, which is KSET 2.
So do you just do football?
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about this is this company, Jay Riley, Bobby Stotzenberger, they set this up to provide broadcast coverage because we do the games on television, but in addition to that, we've partnered with the Big Game Coverage app and KSET.com. So this year we're going to do 150 streamed football games. That's just football games.
Wow.
We're going to do most, if not all, of the Shirt Cibolo games, all of the Judson ISD games.
So those all live. When you say stream, you're streaming them live.
They're streamed live. I mean, and they're all shot in high quality cameras, so you could mirror your phone. You could go on the app on any TV. You know, I watch games on my 60-inch television, and it looks so crisp and so clear.
Wow.
These guys have made a significant investment in this product. So we're going to do 150 football games, but then we're going to do 140 to 150 other sport games throughout the rest of the year. So you're talking about baseball, softball.
Hold on. This is I'm not much into sports, but I do listen.
Yeah.
And what you just said is out of the 100% of sports coverage, half of that's going to be football.
Yes. And the reason that is, I mean,
that's what most people are into.
Well,
anyway.
but it's you think about all the people that are involved, because you think it's just a sport and it's just 11 on 11. We feature the bands, we feature the color guards, we feature the cheerleaders. Anybody that's a part of this, you go to a high school football game, Jason, and
it's a production.
It's a community outing.
Okay.
You have 4,000 or 5,000 people at one high school athletic event that involves up to 200-300 band members, up, the color guards. Again, our productions are more than just doing the games. So like the way that I look at it, the reason we do so many football games is because, it involves such a big part of the grassroots school community. We always interview principals. We always interview, because that's our biggest audience.
When you said streaming and live, my ears perked up, because I'm like, man, there's a lot of moving parts just to keep this shit box going when it's not live.
Yes. Third thing, I'm a stand-up comedian.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
Man, I didn't, and I feel kind of embarrassed, because all the years that I've known you, I mean, we've served on chamber boards together. I mean, we've been around. I mean, I didn't know you were in stand-up.
What you just told me is, I didn't think you were funny.
No,
that's literally what you just told me. Like,
I didn't think,
what? All those years we've been together, Gabe, I didn't think you were funny.
No, that's not what I said. I said I didn't know that you were in a stand-up.
Yeah,
because I knew you was a funny guy. I mean, it only makes sense. But so how long have you been doing stand-up?
Since 2018. Yeah,
2018. Okay, I got so many questions. What got you into thinking, you know what, I'm going to go stand in front of all these people and I don't want to say tell jokes, but be a comedian? What I mean.
So, growing up, I've always been kind of the funny guy. You sit around the table. I'm the guy. My brothers, all 4 of my brothers, Danny, Jaime, Joey, myself, we're just funny guys. I don't know what kind of illness we got in the brain, but it's a funny gene that we all possess. And but
is anybody else in your family comedians?
None. Nobody.
I mean, that do stand up.
Y'all
are all comedians.
Two of my brothers help me write my jokes.
Really?
And yeah.
That's cool.
50% of my stuff comes from some of the things that my brothers tell me. So they're wildly funny, very creative guys. All four of them are. And it's like anything, one time we said, you know what, you need to go into stand-up comedy. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I've been broadcasting for 20, 25 years. Yeah, let's do it. Oh my God, it's so hard. The first open mic that I did back in 2018 with 7 or 8 people in the audience, I almost had a Tony Soprano panic attack, man. I'm like, I should have brought my Xanax, man. Oh my God, what am I doing? This is stupid. Because, what that allowed me to do was eliminate a fear that I've had. And you've seen me, I don't have a problem speaking in front of people. True. I just don't. I'm very natural at it. But to purposefully be funny,
right?
That's hard, because then you got to memorize. There's just a lot to it.
Well, and so, one of the things that I think, it's funny that we're talking about this, because a few days ago I was thinking about you can say what you want about people, but inherently people are nice. They don't want to disrespect, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, whenever, if you're going to tell a joke that has something to do, that makes fun of yourself, right?
Yeah.
You've got to tell it in such a way to let the audience know, hey, this is okay to laugh.
It is.
You know what I mean? And so that has got to be super challenging just in that one little microcosm of comedy.
We have become hypersensitive to everything over the last,
especially now,
4 or 5 years. And, case in point, the whole Chris Rock getting slapped on stage by Will Smith. As a comedian, I was so enraged, and in talking to me, well, Will Smith had every right to go on stage and slap Chris Rock. I'm like, no, he didn't. I don't agree with that. That was assault. I'm shocked that Will Smith did not get arrested for that. It was a joke.
Well, that's a conversation all on its own about how these things don't happen. They don't play out like they would for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know what went through Will Smith's head. I enjoy just about every one of his movies that he's had.
It's a damn shame, because he's done a really good job up to this point with his brand. Whether it's
being a good guy,
whether it's music,
yeah,
whether it's he picks roles where they're not asshole roles.
Yeah, he
doesn't really swear a lot in his music. And it's like poof.
And he's a brilliant actor and entertainer. Yeah, all of that stuff is right. But I watched the movie Concussion the other day. He was flippin' incredible in that role. This is post slap.
Sure.
And as I'm watching this actor do a phenomenal job post slap.
You're watching it post slap. The movie came out before.
No. The movie came out before, but I'm watching this movie just because I wanted to watch it. I'm a football fan. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's reputation is tarnished forever because of a stupid thing that he did. Whether people believe it or not, people are talking about it. He's been banned from just about everything. Movies have been canceled. And he is a brilliant actor. Him portraying Richard Williams was a brilliant performance.
Ali, did you see that one?
Ali,
that was
brilliant performance. I saw him and I saw Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and because of that, this hypersensitivity that we live, and the joke wasn't even that bad, I didn't think. And just circling back to the original point, which is, as a comedian, most of my material, I'll crack some jokes about some folks that I know, that I talk to, that I say, hey, listen, I want to make this joke about you. I normally try and talk about stuff that's Gabe personal, and it kind of keeps me away from. I did this one joke where I talked about the Catholic religion, and I upset a Catholic in the audience. Now, he didn't come up and slap me, but he pulled me aside and said, I thought that joke was a little insensitive. And
what'd you think about the other jokes?
Yeah, and I asked him, I said,
you know what I mean?
I go, well, you laughed at it. He goes, oh no, it was funny. It was just insensitive. I said, well, he goes, but you're one of the least, guys that does stuff that offends people. You make fun of yourself. So
do you get a lot of that insensitivity remarks?
Not really.
No.
No, not really. There's a couple of comedians that I've had to talk to, almost Big Brother wise, and say, listen, you're really funny. You may want to kind of tone it down.
I overanalyze everything, and I could not imagine trying to be a stand-up comedian or host a comic show or anything where, like you said, you got to be like kind of funny on demand.
Every comedian bombs. Mm-hmm. Every there's a Netflix show that Jerry Seinfeld does. It's called Comedians in Cars, Drinking Coffee. And a lot of the questions he asks, he doesn't say, he doesn't ask the comedians, do you bomb? He'll say, when was the first time you bombed?
Like I've been a part of some bachelor parties and there's, somebody always thinks that they're funny, especially when they're drunk.
Oh yeah.
And, give me that microphone. I'm going to show, it's.
And we've had a few guys that have said, hey, my Jethro told me to come up here and do this. And I said, well, do you have material? He's like, no. I'm just going to wing it. No comedian should ever wing it. I don't care if you do 5 minutes of stand-up. It's not going to be funny. No one's going to relate to your story. You always have to have a punchline that's relatable to everybody. Yeah.
So whenever you write, you and your brothers, whenever y'all write jokes, take me through that process, because you've got to factor in one, you got to factor in a joke, and then you got to factor in, the length of the joke, and if how your audience is going to respond to it, and like if they don't respond to it, then what? So walk me through it. Simplify it for me.
For me, the joke writing process, it starts with a thought. I'll be driving, and this is the God honest show. I'll be driving. I'll talk to somebody on the phone. I'll crack something. I'll crack a joke. They'll laugh. And the next time I pull over, I'll break out my phone and I will write it down. I'll write that thought down, put on my computer, and turn them into bits. When I do stand up and I'm not hosting and I'm just doing open mic, you'll see women go up there with their notepads with jokes that they've done, and they'll test the jokes, they'll finish the joke, and if it works, they'll keep it. If obviously nobody laughs,
goes in the can.
Goes into the can. Yeah. So that's kind of my process. It's all personal experiences. You got to know your audience. Okay. If you're performing in front of the, 8th Methodist Church of Baby Jesus, you're probably not going to do a dick joke. I'm just saying, it's probably a bad idea to do I'm going to call it a phallus joke.
Phallus joke.
Okay.
That's dick for anybody who's listening.
Yes. There you go. That's you won't do a phallus joke. If you're doing a midnight show at LOL, everything's on the table because those people are there.
Drunk.
They just want to laugh. They're inebriated. They're there to laugh. So everything's on the table. For me, I try and find that balance. People ask, well, Gabe, you seem like you would be, a PG comedian. I am not.
Why would people think that about you?
I don't know. Like, would you think I'm a PG? You've known me though, so you would think.
Well, I don't. You don't strike me as a PG guy.
I'm not at all. And there's
your voice is too raspy to be
there's
PG.
A little bit. You sound too much like a perv to be PG.
You sound like that guy in the free candy van who's just testing the waters.
Just testing the waters. Sometimes I'll start with a joke for my daughter. My daughter is very funny, and she'll give me a joke. I'll give you an example of a Naya joke right now. Why are pirates called pirates?
Why?
Because they just are. I'll give you another one. How do Mexicans cut pizza?
How?
With Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
I don't have any more bad jokes. I can tell you an inappropriate joke.
Let her fly. Let her fly.
Why did the man cross the road?
Why did the man cross the road?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was stuck to the chicken. Yeah, he's a sinner. He's a sinner. Everybody, every comedian, every man does those types phallus jokes. I have a phallus joke.
That wasn't it?
No, that was not my phallus joke. I used to be morbidly, I'm big now, but I used to weigh 450 pounds. I mean,
really?
You never saw me like that. I was a big dude. And as you lose weight, less of you, more of phallus. We'll call him Little Gibby. Okay. God, I'm going to get into so much trouble for this. Good Lord.
So Little Gibby was when you was 400 pounds.
Little Gibby was when I was 480, and it was bad. It was like, imagine a mushroom cap sitting on a pillow. That was it. Think about it. Let it resonate, brother. Let it resonate. One of them, the ring bearers, when they take the rings up for a marriage, like that big pillow, imagine a mushroom cap sitting on that. That was Little Gibby, buddy. Okay, we're going to stop talking about
No, keep going.
Guys that lose weight, like I have, you get to do things now that you couldn't do when you were morbidly obese, like things that you take for granted, washing your feet. Try being 480 pounds and washing your feet. You just squeeze shower gel and shake your toes and hope to God you get everything. Now I can get in and
get the toe jam.
I unfortunately I developed a foot fetish. That's the only down part of being able to wash your feet. So let's stop the every Wednesday night at Chismosas, guys. We've got some shows coming up. August 13th. I got a showcase with some really funny young comedians.
Where
at Chismosas Cantina y Comida. They've got a comedy room there in the back. It's off of Blanco, near Blanco and Bitters. If I can give a website.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, txcomedyshow.com. txcomedyshow.com. We'll give all the shows that we have. We've got a show coming up on the 19th, that Friday.
At that same venue?
At the same venue. Okay. Some really funny comedians. Danielle Torres, Michelle Cantu. And I would be remiss if, this is a show about entrepreneurs and local talent. There's a comedian, a young woman who, was a bartender, and she's a comedian. Her name is Mila Hugo. She is incredibly funny. She started her own open mic at the Phoenix Saloon in New Braunfels. It's every Monday night, and now she's doing showcases. And I love seeing these young comedians say, you know what? Not only is there the comedy side, there's a business side to it. You talk about an entrepreneur, a young woman taking an opportunity and taking a shot. And she's built up a really nice open mic at the Phoenix Saloon. And there are a lot of those stories out there. I mean, I'm an old guy who's lived my whole life. She's a young 20-something who's taking a chance. And it's working, and she gets great comedians, and now she's putting on showcases. And it's really cool to see these young comedians like Mila doing some great things, because you think comedy is just going up and telling jokes. Once you dive into the business side of it, I mean, there are a lot of nuances, a lot of, little things, just like putting this podcast together. When you put on a comedy show, sound, lighting are the most important parts of a show, because if you have crappy sound and you have crappy lighting, it really takes a hit out of your show.
Walk me through this. So in Mila's example, Mila, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's put together this open mic show.
Yeah.
Would Phoenix pay her for that?
That part of it I don't know. I don't know the side of it. I know that for Chismosas they do take care of me for putting on the open mic. I'm the only.
Do you get the comics?
I'm the one. Well, what I do is we advertise it. The San Antonio comedy scene, the San Antonio area, South Texas comedy scene is very networked. There's pages that you could say, hey, at Chismosas there's an open mic if you want to come out. I did one last night. I had 12 comedians show up.
Do you have any gigs that you do that are not open mic?
I do, yeah. So
where do you play those?
Mostly the shows that I produce are all 100% at Chismosas Cantina, and those are paid gigs. I had Danny Engel there one night, big local comedian. We've had just a slew of folks that have performed out there on nights like Friday and Saturday nights, and those are paid admission shows. Like the open mic shows are free for anybody to go in. It doesn't cost anything. You can go in and watch comedy. It may not be the funniest because they're not using the A stuff. They're using the B, C, and D stuff to practice.
You're the guinea pig. They're testing out on you.
But the paid shows that I do range from anywhere. I've had a show where it was $5 to get in, and I've had a show where people paid $50 to get in for a VIP seat. And those are, I guess, the for real.
Do you get a flat fee, or do you get something off the commission, or do you get a part of the? How does that work?
It all depends on the venue and the deal that you've worked out. I I couldn't have a greater partner in Danielle Brayman at Chismosas. She is just salt of the earth. She's a single mom who decided to take a chance and open this venue. And the arrangement I have is she keeps 100% of the food and beverage. I keep 100% of the door.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a great mix because she has an obligation to make sure she takes care of my patrons. And I mean, if I'm producing a show, I've got to be responsible enough to get people in the seats. And if I don't, I lose money. It's like anything, you know.
Look, I can tell already your incentive isn't to get paid from this because
no, it's not.
You have a great have a great career at Kellum, but it is nice to be rewarded, I guess, so to speak, outside of patting yourself on the back with, man, that was a great show.
I like making people laugh, and I like, you know, there's a gratification to, you know, putting something and putting a show together. Even if I only walk away with $50, if I know that 30 or 40 people walked out of that room,
had a blast,
feeling better than they did when they walked in, I know it sounds cheesy, man, but it makes me feel good.
So, have you always been into sports?
Yes. I started playing baseball at the age of 5, played high school football, high school baseball. I played college football and college baseball. I was, you know, one of the only 2-sport lettermans at the junior college I played at at Kemper College in Missouri. And then from there, I wanted to be a coach.
So before you wanted to be a coach, though, you had something that took you out of football, huh? Did you? We were talking before the show.
Well, yes. So you know, I was playing football at Tarleton State University. I got hurt, you know, and it kind of ended my career. About the second or third game of the season, you have both a commercial and a university radio station. The commercial station lost their color analyst. You know, he left to another market, and the coach at the time said, "Why don't you talk to Gabe? You know, he's got this big personality, you know, see if he'll be good." So they gave me an audition, you know, to do it. And then they hired me, and I fell in love with broadcasting, entertaining in that one first college football game that I did in Valdosta, Georgia.
So how in the hell did you land at Kellum? How did that come about?
So Danny is one of my best friends. I've known Dr. Kellum I've known Dr. Kellum longer than I've known my wife.
Okay.
You know, and I've been married for 20 years, was with Katie for 2 years. So, you know, 24, 25 years I've known Dr. Kellum. I met him through a mutual friend. Now I'm going to name drop Jesse James Leha, the former world champion boxer.
Yeah.
James and I were
he's only got a street name different.
Yeah. James and I are great friends. And, you know, he would have these fight parties when he wasn't training for his fights. And, you know, went to one of his fight parties and, hey, I want you to introduce a guy you like. His name is Danny Kellum. He's a local physician. And from that moment, we became like really close friends. And, you know, to the point where my dad was a state rep for 10 years. He was my dad's biggest contributor,
wow,
you know, 15 years ago. And I just wanted to change. I wanted to try something different. So I talked to him and he said, you know, it's funny. I'm looking to hire a public affairs guy to help me with our development that we can't seem to get off the ground in Church, Texas. Come on out and we'll, you know, I'll hire you. And, you know, he gave me an opportunity at Kellum and I've helped grow that opportunity.
So I take a lot. It's strange to try to explain to anybody, but I see people succeed when I see people succeed, whether I have any input in their success or not.
Yeah.
Like you said, whenever you see somebody take a chance and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to do this," and then it you know, you see them struggle, you see them, you know, go through the all the crap, and you see them starting to do better and then succeed, and you know, hiring people. I feel so much pride for them. You know what I mean?
It's a great feeling.
So happy for them just to know. You know what I mean?
Look at Texas Sports Productions. Bobby Stotzenberger and Jay Riley. They took a huge chance in something that's difficult to execute. It takes a large staff to execute. It takes a lot of equipment to execute. I mean, they rolled the dice. Mm-hmm. I mean, this was a big roll of the dice. And to see it grow where we were 4 or 5 years ago when we first started. Of course, Bobby had, you know, RJS High School Sports and, you know, built the radio side of it, but to go into video, it's one thing to just have a mic and nobody sees your screw ups. If you're doing a football game and you're on radio and you call the wrong name, nobody's going to know that you called the wrong name or the wrong tackle. But dude, video don't lie, man. Video don't lie. It just doesn't. So you have to be on your game, and you got to make sure that shots are where they are. And to see these guys grow this what was a small business, it's still a small business because, you know, they have X amount of employees. It's under 50 employees. But to see them grow it from where they were to where they're at now, and entering into a partnership with KSET, the number one TV station in San Antonio, recognized the efforts that these guys had done. Phil Lane, the GM, we want you a part of this. And they've delivered. They grew the big game coverage app viewership by over 1,000% in 1 year.
Wow.
Just think about that.
That's incredible.
It's 300,000 viewers will watch our stuff. 300,000 plus viewers will watch our stuff this year. It is just incredible.
300,000
and it's just through the internet. That doesn't include TV stuff.
Sure.
Like that doesn't include the TV audience that are watching a box. I'm talking about, that's how old I am. I called it a box. That's just people that go through the app.
At least you didn't call it a set.
I know, right? Jeez. But think about that, Jason. That is not only rolling the dice, but being successful at rolling that dice.
I mean, a person has generated that much traffic. 300,000 people are going to watch their stuff just on the app.
Just on the app alone, yeah.
I mean, if you just think about try to quantify that. There was, before there was nothing, now there's 300,000 eyeballs, sets of eyeballs. You know, you've created something that is, it's just awesome. It's
beyond substantive. I mean, it's entertaining, and I like to look at it as life-changing. And I know that phrase in and itself is extremely subjective, but you let a kid who can, and not only watch the game, but they archive those games. So a kid plays on a Friday night, has a big touchdown. We video that. He goes back and watches it. Tell me about how great it makes that kid feel, and how confident it may. People don't think about the nuances of the effect that TV, that video has on the psyche of individuals when you do something positive.
Yeah.
You know, it just, again, I get emotional thinking about, how kids can be successful by seeing themselves and just saying, you know what, I can do things in life.
This is a great segue into the
oh, you're going to ask me the weird questions.
I'm going to ask you the weird questions.
Yay!
Yeah. So this is the lightning round. All right. So pick a color, right?
Well, pink, of course.
Pink is not on the list, but we'll take red if that's what you want.
Yeah. Oh, I'm colorblind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's fuchsia, kind of fuchsia.
No,
it's red. It's very red.
It's very red.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to hold one up to your shirt?
Whatever.
All right. So this specific deck is called Would You Rather. So I'm glad you picked this deck, actually.
Would I rather? Yes. Oh my God.
So man.
Good Lord. What are just out of curiosity, what are the other?
So the black one is the interview deck. The green one is the What the Heck deck. The blue one is interview deck part 2.
Which one is the small deck? Okay, that joke. Okay, go ahead. All right.
It's the one that you picked.
I picked the small deck. Okay, very appropriate. I picked the small deck.
Yes. With an eck.
Yeah, with an eck.
All right, so this is how this works for anybody who's new to this. This is
this is, by the way, the one Carpenter picked, right? He picked the.
Yes.
Would you? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I got you.
So I'm just gonna ask you 5 random questions. You answer them however you want, and just remember you pick the deck. So, question number 1: Would you rather be? I feel like we asked this one already. Would you rather be single for a year? This includes no dating, or go on bad dates for a year straight?
Bad dates for a year straight. I'm a comedian, man. Come on, seriously.
I need material.
That's material, man.
Oh, right. Lick the pus out of a pop zit or a busted blister.
What?
Would you rather lick the pus out of a pop zit or a busted blister?
I would have to say a busted blister, yeah.
More watery.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would vomit less.
Less consistency on the tongue.
I would. Yes. Okay, that was my dry heave. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like when you vomit.
That's when I dry heave. I'm a really good dry heaver. I dry heave all the time. Good Lord.
Would you rather be covered in bees or be covered in spiders?
Bees.
Would you rather blow up 100 balloons or lick 500 envelopes?
Oh God, balloons. For sure, yeah.
And last question, would you rather abolish war or find a cure for every type of cancer?
Oh my God. Find a cure for every type of cancer. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of a tough one.
Yeah. Why would you ask? That's such a philosophical, deep question.
I didn't. You
the
picked
small
deck.
The small deck.
The small deck, actually.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
But so, yeah, I mean, when you say abolish war, and I'm not going to get on this tangent, but, what I thought of right away is that war is more of a man-made problem than cancer is.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get into chemicals and all this other bullshit. I'm sure we're causing lots of cancer, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It seems like at some point in history, we'll get our shit together.
You think so? From a war standpoint or from a cancer standpoint?
No, I was thinking of a war standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope.
I mean, yeah, you would think. I mean, what's happening?
I mean, maybe not.
In Russia, Ukraine. You just look at all these different. They're calling them conflicts, or they're calling. It's sad, but Well,
I tell you what, though, I think something that's incredibly powerful now is the ability to live stream that from your phone when it's happening. Have you seen some of that horrible shit?
I have, yeah.
That's got to resonate with some of the right people to keep this shit from happening in the future. You know what I'm saying? I try my best to stay out of the political realm, which is funny considering I have a show about it. But so like a lot of the whistleblowers and WikiLeaks and things like this, they were blowing. They were blowing wide open the horrible shit that we have done in other countries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so like now you don't even need a WikiLeaks. All you got to do is go to Facebook or YouTube or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everything.
It's like, this is happening right now because why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
hopefully that, like I said. Let me ask you a couple questions here.
Sure.
What's the one thing you wish you knew before starting comedy?
From a producing standpoint, I wish I would have had a better grasp of the pay scale. Believe it or not, paying comedians is kind of a sensitive subject, and everybody wants to get paid to do a show. I didn't really have a full understanding, and that was my fault of not asking other producers what they pay, how that works, the structure. I just kind of thought what I was fair. So from a production standpoint, and not so much because I didn't want to lose money, but more so because I didn't want to throw my fellow producers of shows under the bus and, oh, this is what Gabe pays, and this is what so I wish I would have had a better understanding of the business side of how you take care of comedians. Okay, on that side. On the comedy side, I wish I would have known how hard it was, so I'd have never tried it.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
No, what I would have done differently is maybe asked a few more comedians on what to expect, because he didn't tell me, once you go on stage, you're going to have a panic attack and you may faint.
That probably would have kept you.
Would have been good information to know. Half a Xanax, let's do it.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, the comedy thing just came out of left field for me, and it was something that I'd always wanted to try for years, but never had the courage to do it. Mm-hmm. And when I did it, once I got through the initial, being nervous part of it, it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
So with what you know and how you feel right now, do you wish you would have started sooner?
Oh, God, yes. Absolutely.
As soon as you were able to. Huh?
Yeah. Back when I was friends with James, before I'd even met my Jesse James Leha, I was always the jokester guy. I was the guy that made everybody laugh. And James at that time said, I want you to go into comedy, to the point where, talk to my manager. We want to set up a plan for you.
One of the largest barricades for people to enter in whatever it is that they want to enter is they're fearful of what their family will think.
Yeah.
Or what opinion they'll have of them, and a lot of times it's very difficult to say, you know what, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Yeah. And it's really tough to do that when you're living at home with your mom and dad. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like for me, it started off way back.
Let me backtrack that right quick, because I think, the fear, yes, but even more so than that, not having an open conversation with my parents and saying, I'm thinking of doing this. What? Because I think they would have been supportive. I think they would have said, roll the dice, take a chance. My dad loved me. My parents loved me unconditionally. If you fail, we're going to come out and get you.
And I'm glad you said that, because I feel like in most cases, no matter how much of a hard ass you think your dad is, no matter how stiff you
talk
think
to him. That's it. Dad, Vietnam veteran, one tour in Pleiku. He was in country. I mean, he's a tough guy, man. Former sergeant in the Army. And he had a level of discipline that was heightened. It wasn't by any means over the top. It was just something that really was the foundation of this silly little boy that led to where I'm at right now. But again, if I had one reflective moment that I could go back in time, it would be not let the fear get the best of me, but find out if that fear is substantiated with what is or isn't fact.
Right.
I think my mom would have said she didn't want her mijo going to LA, but that's for a different reason.
Sure. Yeah.
My dad would have said, hey, you went to Missouri to play football.
Yeah.
You make your decisions. Try it.
What's the biggest mistake you think you've made in comedy?
Oh God, the biggest mistake.
And let's go with both sides, being a comic and also the producing side.
Being a comic, taking the time off. I think, I started in 18 and I did it for a while. And then I said, you know what? I can't do both. And I think I could have done both. And again, it all goes back to the fear of, there's no way that I can do TV and do comedy at the same time. I'm not going to have time. Well, I've proven over the last year and I'm going to prove this year that I can do both. It's taking that time off because I was really on a roll. And, I was learning the craft, writing a lot of jokes, putting together some material to the point where folks were actually hiring me to do shows. But, continue with it and not taking that. COVID also took a hit in what we were doing comedy wise. I mean, think about that. That was a 2-year hit also that I was doing online shows because I had just gotten back into comedy at that time.
When you are on stage, you can better gauge your audience because you're looking at them, seeing them, hearing them.
Yeah.
You can hear the rumble. You kind of know what the mood is, all those things. It seems like all that would go away being online.
Yeah, but you have to understand my background was nothing but TV, nothing but radio. So for me, I can't
almost
speak,
probably more comfortable.
I can't speak for other comedians, but again, I'm doing a live stand up at halftime of a Judson, Austin Westlake playoff game or Lake Travis playoff game, and I know that there's 6 figures worth of people watching at the same time. The little red light goes on. Don't get nervous. Doesn't bother me at all. And that was kind of the same feeling that, when I said, okay, Gabe Farias, and I saw all these people here on the side, I'm looking at the camera, didn't bother me at all. Did not bother me at all.
Best advice you ever got in comedy?
Best advice that I've ever gotten in comedy is it's like anything. As simplistic as this sounds, practice your trade. Practice your craft, work on your jokes, work on your finish. If you're standing in front of a mirror, if you're reading it in front of your computer, you need to always practice. It's like anything in life. If you want to be a good golfer, you don't just pick up a set of golf clubs and you're good.
Right. And
if you're decent, you don't go from decent to great by just playing in golf rounds. You got to go to the range and you got to hit. It's practice. Practice literally makes as good as you're going to get. And that advice, Jason, that goes for anything that you do. When you started making signs, did you just start making them, or did you?
No.
Yeah, you had to go through trial and error to perfect what it was you're doing. Anything that you do in life, there's going to be no difference if you don't practice. If you don't work at your craft, you're not going to be very good at it.
What do you do to relax, to reset? Do you take time off? What is it that you do to relax?
Spend time with my kids. Believe it or not, as crazy as they drive me, I love hanging with my kids and my family. I love hanging out with them.
How old are your kids? I meant to ask.
12 and almost 14.
12 and 14.
Yeah.
Your son's the youngest, right?
He's the youngest one. Yeah.
I remember meeting him whenever we did that the commercial.
Oh, that's right. He was my little production assistant that day. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest myth that people have, or the biggest misconception people think about when it comes to comedy or comedians?
That it's easy.
Really?
I think people say, yeah, you have no idea how many people come up to me and say, oh, I can do that.
Really?
Oh God, yeah, I can do that. I mean, there are a lot of people like you. You're smart, lucid, very, very pragmatic guy.
I don't know if this is part of your bit now or what.
No, you really are. But you know what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, what you can do. There are some people that think, yeah, I made a guy laugh. I'm going to go up on stage. I can do this. And again, I keep telling everyone, this is very hard.
Yeah.
Doing comedy, it seems like it's going up and being yourself. there's a part of that, and that's the sellable part of what you do. But I cannot emphasize how much time you have to put into this craft.
We touched on this a little while ago whenever you were talking about trying to understand what to pay the comedians.
Yeah.
What determines that value?
Experience and execution. I mean, for me now.
Well, what if they're an experienced bad comedian?
Then I'm not going to hire them for the show.
Well, but they got the experience.
I'm not going to put them on the show. I mean, that part of this, where the subjectivity of a producer, like, I'm only going to put funny people on shows. I'm not going to, you could be doing it for 15 years. If I don't think you're funny, or your style of comedy doesn't match what I think will resonate with the crowd, I'm not going to put you on. I mean, I'm not under subpoena to hire any comedian whatsoever. So, I've got this young woman who's only been doing it for a few months. Her name is Michelle Cantu, and she just blows every crowd she's been in front of. Some people are just naturals at it.
Sure.
She practices it.
Sure.
But she's a mom, 3 kids, loving husband. She decided to get into comedy, because of the whole, hey, you're funny, great, beautiful personality. And she just kills every crowd that I've ever seen. I'm about to hire her for a featured spot, where normally a featured spot doesn't get an opportunity until you're 2 or 3 years in.
Where do you think it'd be in 10 years?
In 10 years, I'd like to see where Kellum Real Estate is going to go in 10 years. I'm interested in seeing how we're able to take what we're doing in shirts, because right now it's just shirts, but we've got developments planned. We've got a clinic in Bernie. We've got a development planned on Braun and 1604.
All medical related?
All medical related clinics.
So
are
services. You part of the real estate aspect of this?
I am a part owner of Kellum Real Estate, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So I from both a entity and a personal standpoint, I'd like to see where Kellum Real Estate ends up in 10 years. From a comedic standpoint, I'd really like to see, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to see where I go. I have an end result. I'm not going to share it here, but I'll share it with you off the air on what my end result is. And it ties into the TV stuff. I'm going to continue to do the TV stuff until they say you're too big, ugly, old, or bald to be on television. I'm going to keep doing this.
You just got to wear your hat.
Yeah, I guess. But some guys look good bald. Some guys don't.
I look really good bald because I wear a hat.
Yeah, my head would look like a Shar-Pei puppy, man. If I was bald, it would just look. I would be a bad bald guy. But I'd like to see where those 3 realms professionally play out, because I'm going to continue to do them until, God forbid, I have some life-altering occurrence. But, as long as things stay as they are, I'd like to see, I'm like you. I'd like to see where I'm at, in 10 years. I'd like to see the growth of Kellum Real Estate, not so much the medicine park, because, again, I know that's going to be fine. I'd like to see where my, the Texas sports production direction goes. 10 years. I mean, think about where we've gone in 5 years.
Right.
You give it another 10 years. I mean, we're going to be a statewide, if not a region-wide, sports network that's gonna be broadcasting multiple levels of not just sports. We're talking about going into boxing. We're talking about doing some things that I think can take TSP from where it's at right now, which is a viable, very fruitful company, to something that to me is game changing. Because right now you have, what used to be Fox Sports, you have Bally Sports, and they kind of, and ESPN, those guys kind of have monopolies on a lot of this stuff. I'd like to see where TSP goes. Heck, in 5 years, ESPN may say, yeah, here's $80 million. We're buying TSP from you. And that's the reality of
How would you feel about that?
I mean, as long as they keep me on board, I wouldn't have a problem with it,
So, I mean, and that's a
whole other topic for a whole other conversation.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because you did say monopoly, and then you did say maybe ESPN in some future time throws a big wad of cash and buys, like these guys like Microsoft and Facebook. They get smeared all over the news because they're buying up their competition or whatever it is, or their intellectual property or whatever it is that they're buying. It's kind of an interesting conversation, or an interesting thing to, like what's right here. You know what I mean? It's just interesting.
That is such a complex and long conversation, because I'm a capitalist and I'm a Democrat. People in the Democrat Party, when I say that, well, you're not a real Democrat. Well, yeah, first of all, I think, my vote is, when I go into a room, I vote ideology. Most of the time that is going to be a Democratic candidate, 90% of the time. But I'll give you an example. Will Hurd was a congressman, a Republican congressman. I voted for him several times. I believed in Will. I thought he was one of the best congressmen we've ever had, in my area. But getting back to this other topic, I'm a capitalist, and that's the reality of what we have. Now, when you talk about monopolizing, and when you're talking about this, there are so many other factors at play than just saying, ESPN, we're going to buy you. You got to go through, the communications, federal communications. FCC, they've got to okay those types of permits. It's more than just saying, yeah, go ahead, buy them.
No, I know. It's just, right, wrong, good, evil, whatever you want to say. It's just it's an interesting dynamic to business. You know what I mean? It is. So, I mean, I guess I got this guy busting my balls on Instagram right now, jokingly. I posted a picture about how crazy I went on Amazon Prime. And he's like, "Oh, you're putting the fuel in Jeff Bezos' rocket ship so he can fly around space." He's just joking around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the comment is made, you know what I mean, in a manner, and it's like, so I'm a small business guy.
Sure.
I'm a small business owner. I would like to say a small business supporter.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also, I'm going to put myself first. You know what I mean? And so, like, anything that I can do to save a little bit of time, I'm going to do that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And Amazon has got that on lock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, we can get into whether it's good or evil or whatever. But, I think at some point, Jeff Bezos was a small guy. Business guy.
He was, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that at some point in an entrepreneur's business, endeavor, they think about what, even if they say, look, I don't want to get big, I just want to be, whatever, they think about what it would be like to be big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what, that looks like. You know what I mean? And so it's weird because it's, you start off with the small business support and, the shop local and all that stuff. And then when you get larger and larger and larger, like Kellum, right?
Yeah.
You kind of lose that. I would say like the community or your customer, they don't look at you as the small business guy anymore.
And that's Dr. Kellum's biggest fear. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you bring that up because he always wants to maintain, one of his biggest complaints that he has is, oh my God, it takes so long to get in to see Dr. Kellum. And I waited for X amount of time, and a lot of time the staff gets the brunt of that. Oh, the staff, we had to wait. But then they get in the room with Dr. Kellum and I don't know if you've ever experienced a visit with Danny. Mm-mm. He has got the greatest bedside manner. When you go into his room, you're not his patient, you're his friend. And he'll know something about each of his patients he's at. And what should be a 10 or 15 minute visit turns into 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour. And he is just a beautiful individual. And he takes the bedside manner part of what he does. And that's his biggest fear as he grows, because he knows that when we have multiple locations, there's only one Danny Kellum. Right. And he doesn't want to lose the fact that people say, yeah, we wait. Oh my God. But Dr. Kellum is the best. We're never going to change from him because, when we get to see him, he is just, oh my God, he is a beautiful individual. And
you see those reviews online.
Yeah.
I see them. There are some complaints about how long it takes to get in, but at the same time, it's these people that are saying, but I'm never going to go anywhere else.
But I'm never going to not see Dr. Kellum.
Right.
And as far as him growing and having 8 or 9 or 10, Kellum family medicine practices, he doesn't want to lose that community family touch that he's had. There's some pride to him having 5,000 square feet and 2 or 3 providers and them being the family community doctor. Right. You're talking about community medicine versus corporate medicine.
Right.
And he doesn't want to lose that. I mean, we desperately try to work on maintaining that balance of what is corporate medicine and what is community medicine.
Mm-hmm. Expectations versus reality, right? So whenever you first went to work for Kellum, what did you expect versus what was the reality of that?
It was one of the first times that I wasn't involved in an organizational employment. So I was with the West Chamber. So I had a board of directors.
Sure.
I had all that, or government. When I worked for Roland Gutierrez and Jennifer Ramos, working for city council, it was really the first job that I had that was a truly private sector job. So, it was kind of a little bit of the fear of the unknown because, when you run a chamber of commerce, you and I were board members. I mean, I had a board that I had to answer to. I mean, I had a set of 11 bosses that were scrutinizing every move that I made. And at Kellum, it was literally just, a couple of supervisors, and they were looking after me, and I had a heck of a lot more autonomy to do what I wanted to do. My expectation from Danny was very simple, I need you to help grow our practice through the marketing and communication side, but I really need help on the public affairs side with, some of the bureaucracies that are taking place in Church, Texas with getting, our building built. I mean, it was literally just a concept. We hadn't broken ground. This was 4 or 5 years ago when I first started working there. And, I was able to fortunately take advantage of some of the relationships my father had made as a legislator because he came into the Tri-County area.
Off of the show, I was talking to some doctor friends of mine and things like this. And one of the things that is I think that the public forgets is that, one, it is a business.
Yeah.
And businesses have to make money. You know what I mean? And then so also of course, the human side of things, it's like there's, if when you think about the evil corporations of the world, right, they look at the bottom line and, you got to have more units and blah, 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 cheaper cost and all this crap. This is what makes a successful business. But when you're talking about healthcare and you're talking about people's, wellness, I mean, I know there's doctors out there that look at the numbers like that. They look at people like numbers and whatever. But just like what you said, though, as far as, you take a 10-minute visit and it's stretched out to 30, 45 minutes because the man cares about who he's talking to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's got to be tough for business.
It is, but again, you can't take an individual and how he's practiced for his entire life. I mean, and this is a reflection of his personality too. It's not just how he deals with, it's somebody who comes in on a meeting to talk about, pitching, a certain set of medicinal uses for the office. He'll sit there and have a real friendly conversation with this person. And I'm like, Danny, let's go, man. Come on. I know you guys love UT football, but for the love of God, but it's his personality. He's just a genuinely salt of the earth, beautiful person who loves to talk with people.
Anybody ever say, tell me a joke?
Oh, all the time.
Like, if they know that you're in comedy, it's like,
yes,
say something, make me laugh.
Nonstop.
How do you take that? Is it frustrating?
It is. And when because I've been in radio too for a long, long time. And I was actually a disc jockey. I was a DJ at KISS, 99.5 KISS. We haven't even, yes, I know. I was a DJ at KISS at Y100. At KKYX 106.7. I was a DJ.
Damn country boy. I had no idea.
Yes, I was. And I used to get people all the time I would see hey, talk to me in your radio voice. I'm like, what do you mean?
Okay, this is it.
Like, this is it. I'm Gabe Farias. No, the way you say the letters. I'm like, no, man, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, people ask me like,
let's hear how you say the letters.
Like, oh, letters. 99.5 KISS. No, I'm not going to do it, man. Come on.
So I remember watching Full House when I was a kid. I'd come home from school and there it was, right? And then I remember thinking Bob Saget was such he's the dorky square guy, you know what I mean? And the first time I ever heard him cuss was in a movie with, I think it was Dave Chappelle.
Oh my God, the cocaine.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Have you ever sucked dick for coke?
I used to suck dick for coke.
That is one of the best scenes I have.
I was speechless. I was like,
seen.
What just happened?
Yes.
Is this career tanking or something? What? Well, how did he get into this position? I was blown away.
That was Bob Saget, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody thought he was this.
Yeah.
And he was not that.
Yeah.
Very profane, but very funny. Incredibly,
Very funny.
incredibly funny.
Who do you think is somebody who is not very funny that the public or a lot of people think is very funny?
Oh, no fair putting me on the line. Who do I think is not very
Or just not
funny?
as funny as other people think?
Man, that is like completely putting me on the spot. Jimmy Fallon, I
It's
think
whoever.
I think he's entertaining. I just don't think he's as funny as what everyone, really builds him up to. Incredibly talented guy. I mean,
Sure.
Insanely talented.
Parting words of wisdom.
Yep.
Hell, we could talk about parting words of wisdom for anybody
Yeah.
in comedy or, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about the successful career that you've had with Kellum. But just parting words of wisdom for anybody that wants to get into comedy. Let's go with that. What would you say?
If you do it, commit to it. And when you commit to it, practice. Practice. I know that sounds so rudimentary, but, everybody has funny thoughts in their head. If you're thinking about getting into it, and I found this part out late because I went years and years and years of funny thoughts and funny jokes and didn't write them down. Get a notepad like this. And just write stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Just write jokes down. Yes, something like that.
There's no jokes in here except for the content.
Write shit down. Write your jokes down and practice. Practice your craft. You're going to get a lot of people not laughing at your stuff. Don't let that deter you. I tell people all the time, it's not like we talked about. It's not, hey, have you? It's when did you and how many times and how did you survive out of the times you bombed?
Anyways.
Great talk.
Anything else that you want to shout out?
No, man, I appreciate you. You're doing this not just for me, but really showcasing some cool people and some folks that are making a substantive difference in this community. It takes some balls to go out there and put not only make a monetary investment, because folks, let me tell you something. This is no small feat what Jason has done here, but to bring people in to tell their stories about what's going on in the Texas Tri-County area. I think it's fantastic, man. I love it.
Where can people find you? Where, Instagram, Facebook, comedy shows, drop all the name drops.
So for comedy, the best place to find the shows that we're producing is txcomedyshow.com. txcomedyshow.com. You'll have a full list of our open mics, of the shows that I'm producing, and I even list other shows that other producers are producing, just to kind of help out with the local comedy scene. As far as Texas Sports Productions, it's texassportsproductions.com. Also the Big Game Coverage app and kset.com. Those are the primary sources that you can watch all of the content that we have. We're going to have some games on TV on KSET on August 27th, and then KSET 2, which is Me TV. And as far as, just getting in touch with me, my Twitter feed is at GabeDFarias.com. Gabe, D as in David, Farias. F as in Frank, ARIAS as in Sam. That's my Twitter handle. Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook, yeah. Gabe D. Farias. Same thing on Facebook.
You on Instagram?
I'm on the gram. Kids call it the gram. And it's the same thing, Gabe D. Farias. Yeah. So, yeah, I have a unique name. I just put my initial into it, and boom, there you go. Nobody else has it.
Nobody has it.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking it shit.
Yeah, MySpace. My MySpace.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't have MySpace.
Are you still friends with Tom?
He was my one friend. I never knew who Tom was.
I'm going to attempt to let everybody know. This is the first time I've ever done this because I'm horrible at self-promotion.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple people, and they're like, hey, I really enjoy the show. And I always ask, where do you watch it? They say Facebook. I'm like, the show's not on Facebook. Just the trailers are.
Yeah.
But but I don't call anybody out like that. But
Sure.
I say, thanks. I appreciate it. TXLocalTalent.com is where you can find everything
Nice.
and everywhere we are, including little blog write-ups about the shows. So you can read it, you can listen to it, or you can watch it.
Nice. Got two ugly guys here, man. I'd listen to it, but whatever.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. A little cheer for you on the way out.
That was fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.